The Lucas County Board of Developmental Disabilities presents Larc Lane Conversations with our hosts, Chris Hart and Jane Meyer.
Thank you, Dave. My name is Chris Hart, and I would like to talk a little bit about how I got started at the county board. I started as a adult SAS in 2008 for adults, and in 2022, I decided to try a new challenge, and I transferred to the Provider Support Compliance Department. Here, we ensure providers are following DD rules and regulations, as well as connecting and supporting our providers who serve our individuals.
Thank you, Chris. My name is Jane Meyer. I started at the county board almost 30 years ago, and I started as a children's unit SAS, which at that time was called case management, switched over to provider support department when it first started. And then we have a partnership with the University of Toledo's Human Trafficking and Social Justice Institute, where I'm a path coordinator there, and work with individuals who are survivors of human trafficking or are vulnerable to being trafficked. So we're excited about the podcast, Chris. We're
so excited.
Larc Lane Conversations. Let's talk about how we got here. Well, we like to banter.
We do like to banter.
We like to laugh.
We love to laugh.
We like to talk about interesting topics.
For sure.
Subjects.
For sure.
And then somebody recruited us for a committee.
I think that was Dave Mullen. It was.
And what a choice that was.
And that committee was so awesome because we got to tell people about what the county board does, all the success stories, how we collaborate and partner with community agencies and providers, and share our success stories with individuals. So it was just kind of a natural flow.
Absolutely.
Somebody bought the dream.
They did, for sure.
So, in the spirit of Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month, we have our own Dave Mullen, who's been at the county board for 17 years, and he's a provider support coordinator. He's here to share about the history of DD Month.
Yes, I'm Dave Mullen, and like Jane said, I'm the provider support coordinator for Lucas County DD, and I have been with the board for 17 years, started as a investigative agent in the MUI unit, and have been the provider training coordinator for the last year or so. So when I started looking into doing this podcast for the Disability Awareness Month, I was kind of interested in the history. And what I found out was that actually the initial DD awareness was in October, and that began in 1945 when Harry Truman established the first week of October of every year as the National Employ the Physically Handicapped Week. It wasn't until 1987 that President Ronald Reagan actually signed into law the Disability Awareness Week and moved it to March. His stated goal at that time was to increase the public awareness of the needs of and the potential of Americans with developmental disabilities, and to provide the encouragement and opportunities they need to lead productive lives and to achieve their full potential, which is basically what we hope to do here now today.
For sure.
In the 38 years since Reagan's declaration, attitudes towards individuals with DD have changed significantly, and legislation has shifted initiatives and programs that have increasingly supported the independence of individuals with developmental disabilities. One of the things that I thought was very interesting was how much history is actually in Northwest Ohio when it comes to disabilities and supporting individuals with disabilities. And it went all the way back to 1888 when the Toledo State Mental Hospital became the first one in the country to use a cottage system so that people weren't put inside just open wards. Toledo Rotary Club was one of the first Rotaries in the country to take on the challenge of assisting handicapped children, which has become a national initiative for them. And that began back in the early 1900s. In 1930s, Josina Lott, which everyone's heard of Josina Lott, she began what she considered her experiment to show that children with disabilities could actually be educated. And she ended up opening the first sheltered workshop in Lucas County, which was in 1945. So, right at the end of World War II. And then in 1949, George and Georgette and Roy Engler, they came to the Maumee area with their 5 disabled children and were given a house with 7 acres of land. And since then, that's grown into be the Sunshine Communities. It was originally Sunshine Children's Home. And today they serve over 300 individuals and have over 400 employees in several counties. And then in 1981, Toledo and Betty Ruth Kay founded Bittersweet Farms out in the Archibald area, which was the first residential farm for individuals with autism in the United States, and was based on a farm that she had visited when she was in England a few years earlier. And they now have 2 campuses in Northwest Ohio and are serving over 100 individuals in both home residential and in their day programs. So I thought that was some pretty interesting things to have happened just right here in Northwest Ohio, pretty significant in the field.
Absolutely.
Dave, what was your most surprising as you were doing your research that shocked you?
I guess I didn't know a lot about how Sunshine had started and developed, that it actually was. I guess I had some confusion about where they were originally located and stuff like that, but just how much it was supported by the Mennonite Church and how much of all the building out there was done all through volunteer labor and volunteer materials from various contractors and things throughout the area.
Just goes to show even now how volunteers are so important in what we do.
They're integral in so much of what we do.
The foundation of a lot of things. And once you get volunteers that have that passion, anything can happen.
Oh, yeah. Look at Special Olympics and all that. It's totally dependent upon volunteers to make it successful.
Yeah. I love, too, how it's so unique to our area. There was so much cutting edge, kind of new things.
Very much so.
Started in this area.
Most places up until even the 80s were still just putting people away in institutions. And, we were well on our way to establishing, community living, throughout Lucas County. So.
For sure.
Something to be proud of.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you for sharing the history, Dave. We appreciate that.
So we're so honored to have Michele Myerholtz as our first guest for our first podcast episode. Thank you, Michele, for joining us.
Yes,
she is our superintendent at the Lucas County Board of Developmental Disabilities. And what a better guest to have on March, which is Disability
Awareness Month.
Developmental Disability Awareness. So thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So thanks for being here. We're going to pepper you with questions.
That's okay.
Tell us a little bit about how you got into the DD world.
Well, so actually, my journey started when I was in high school. My dad worked for the Wood County Board of Developmental Disabilities. And I don't remember if I was probably a sophomore because I couldn't drive yet. So I volunteered at the Wood Lane Summer Day Camp.
Okay.
And I would have to ride with my dad during those days, so I could not drive myself. So I volunteered and I loved it. I kind of fell in love with it. I fell out of doing anything for a couple years. I'd moved over to kind of the Akron, Worcester, Ohio area. And when I moved back to this area, I lived in Bowling Green and I enrolled at BGSU for my master's program. And I really wanted a job that was going to allow me some flexibility. I had an assistantship with BGSU, so I was going to have to do some work for them, certain amount of hours a week. And, with the master's program, had no idea what to expect. I think I was 21. So I just, I didn't want to be too overwhelmed with whatever. This is, important to do well in my program. And so I wanted a job that was going to allow me flexibility, and that wound up bringing me to Wood Lane Residential Services. They're a provider of folks with disabilities, providing, definitely at that time it was mostly residential services. They did some other types of things. But so I was a DSP, a direct support professional, and worked in several homes as a contingent staff. So I was a sub. I could pick up hours when it was convenient for me. And I have just never left. I went from doing that to I became a home supervisor. And then from there, I applied in Lucas County for a service and support specialist position, and then started at the board in August of 2003 as an SSA. And then here I am now in 2025 as a superintendent. So it's been a journey.
Sounds like it's been a good journey.
Yes, it's been a great journey.
Definitely. So how do you foster communication, Michele, and collaboration between staff and individuals and our community? What does that look like for you?
Well, to me, it boils down to relationships. So certainly, it's important to have a good relationship with staff. Sometimes that's a little hard to do because all the decisions I have to make are not always necessarily going to put a smile on staff's face. But I just do my best to try to communicate the why as much as I can. And then as far as with individuals, again, it's just about relationship. If I say I'm going to do something, you got to follow through. So I try to follow through, whether I myself do it or I may need to delegate that or whatnot, but I always try to make sure we're following through, with the community. I mean, same thing is making sure that, building those relationships, going out and seeing people face to face. There is nothing
so important
better than face to face interactions to develop personal relationships, because there's so much that can be misconstrued. Even if it's Zoom, when you have your cameras on, there's just so much that can be lost in personal interactions. And so I think to foster good communication, you have to have good relationships. And to have good relationships, you have to have mutual trust and respect. And
Absolutely.
so that's what it boils down to for me.
Absolutely. I like that response. It's so
do.
true, isn't it? I love that you have such a unique perspective because you have done a lot of different jobs in the field. You've been, not only direct support professional, you worked at the summer camp, you've worked in, the supported living and the SAS. So I think that's a good perspective, which kind of leads into what is your vision, do you think, for the Lucas County Board of Developmental Disabilities in the field for the next several years as you're coming into, we made it past COVID.
Yes.
We did well, we did well. It was great under pressure. So where do you think in the next several years that you see?
Well, that is a very interesting question at this moment in time, just with everything kind of going on at the kind of the federal and state level of government. So I think it's important to not lose sight. I guess all of that affects it. It'd be naive to think that, we can just go about our business and not let that what's going on affect us, because it does. But we can't let it lose sight on ultimately what we're here to do, which is to serve people with disabilities and help improve their life so that they can reach their full potential. And so that being our mission, it is all about living out our mission. And so I want to continue to do the things that we've identified in the strategic plan, which, we just started last year. And, we have a lot more conversation to have about it. I know this was a new way of planning for us. And so I know there's a lot of confusion around it still. So I think just making sure that we're continuing to talk about it, communicate, clarify, help people understand what we're doing and why, not only outside of the agency, but especially inside. We all have to be working together to achieve that strategic plan so that we can achieve our mission. And I think, so where I see us is we are an agency that is creative and innovative and trusted as the expert, not only within Lucas County, but throughout the state. You know, I want us to be the best that we can be, because that's what the people we serve deserve from us. And in order to do that, we are going to have to be creative and innovative. Not only just because, so if nothing changes and just today is how things are going to be as far as, you know, Medicaid or anything else that's going on, we still have to be creative and innovative to meet people's needs, because we work with people, not widgets or robots. You know, they have different needs, and different ways to meet those needs are necessary because each family is unique. But it will be even more important for us to be flexible and nimble, if you will, if there are changes that come about due to Medicaid or property taxes or other things that could affect how we need to do business. And so I am confident, though, that regardless of what happens, we will figure it out, and we will figure out how to continue to provide the quality service that we do today. And I'm confident that because of, we have 300 plus awesome, caring, wonderful employees, that we will band together and we will figure it out. So
I love that answer. I love to.
I do too.
It's so true about, we do like to think outside of the box. And just in our daily interactions, not only with providers and staff, I think Lucas County comes up with some pretty creative ideas and some pretty incredible things that we're able to help individuals and their families reach what they want to do with their lives. So
yeah,
I do
for sure.
that.
For sure.
You survived the first three. So the fun question, the last question is, would you like to share something about yourself that might surprise people, or something that people don't know about you?
Oh my goodness. That is, I don't know why that's a tough one.
I didn't know that you started out with your dad, and that your dad worked at the...
Oh, I did not know that either.
Yes.
That was pretty
a little factoid.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. I think probably there's always been something that people wouldn't know about me. There's probably always been some sensitivity in my life around people with disabilities. My uncle has some disabilities, though not as my dad's brother. He's not qualified for services, and I don't think it's because he probably doesn't. It's because of, back in the day, he's 65. So back in the day, parents didn't always reach out and try to get diagnoses or different things, because you just took care of your family. And, it wasn't anything that was so significant or severe about him. It's just intellectual disability. And so, like, the sticking point has been having that qualifying diagnosis and being able to get school records that show, that he was on an IEP and that kind of thing. And so, and that's okay. We just rally around and do, the few things that he needs or needs help with or whatever, we just do, as a family. But I think that kind of helped. I guess I've just always kind of had that, some exposure to people with disabilities, and maybe that's I've never really thought that much about it, I guess, but maybe that really helped shape my passion and compassion for
absolutely
people with disabilities and their families.
For sure.
Gosh, what a thought-provoking question. Maybe I just had a realization of my own. I'm answering.
It's part of your journey, a part of your story, how things that we're involved in, and especially family or past family is different. Well, it shows, I think it shows in what you do. I think everybody would say that. So I appreciate you sharing that with
Yes.
Yeah, I appreciate your time and coming on today.
My pleasure.
Fair question.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to participate in the inaugural episode of the podcast here.
Yeah.
So thank you.
To kick off DD Awareness Month, we have a very special young man with us here today.
Yeah.
We have Joseph Masters, and in the shadows we have his provider Bronwyn Diaconis, CEO of Rain Residential Services.
Yes.
So Joe, we thought we were going to ask you a couple questions. Is that okay?
Yes.
All right.
I'm okay with it.
Well, word on the street is you started your own business.
No, I didn't really start yet. It's going to start once I start it.
Okay.
Go
What
ahead.
kind of business are you getting ready to start?
My vending machine. For like chips and pop.
Oh, a vending machine for
Yeah,
chips.
but I'm gonna they're gonna be refilling them. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna refill them.
Awesome. Awesome. So how did you get started with this business?
Cause I asked Bronwyn about it and she helped me out with it.
Okay. So she helped you with the idea of getting started?
I thought of it and then it was okay with her to agree with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have it on the computer? Do you have a website?
I really don't know. Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. You're working on that?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. So tell us some of the things that you like to do for fun.
Are you ready to hear this?
I'm ready. I'm ready if you are.
I go to the movies. I go out of town.
Go on vacations?
Yes.
Oh, okay. What's your favorite vacation spot?
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Oh, who do you go with on vacation?
Rowan.
With Bronwyn.
She's the only one mostly I go with, mostly.
Okay. Do you go with a group of people?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what kinds of things do you do on vacation?
I go the boat one.
On a boat ride?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it sounds like you've been working with Bronwyn and for a while. So
Go ahead, say you say.
okay.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that Bronwyn helps you with, like in your daily life?
She helped me do it. She helped me be better in a better life. She helped me get a nice house and everything.
Wow, you have your own house?
But it's not my permanent house.
Okay. What else does she help you with from day to day?
She helps me go to the store all the time. She helps me with my medicine, make sure I do my medicine like I'm told to do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Anything you can
I was curious, what's on your sweatshirt, Joey?
Yeah.
But
What is that?
this is starting my business.
Is that your logo?
And I'm going to show you I don't know if you can see it on my back. Hold on.
It says Joe's Tasty Treats. I love it. Is that what the hat says as well?
See?
Oh, yeah.
I love that you have that logo. It looks awesome.
And they're $55 to buy one. Buy one of the shirt.
Okay, so they're for sale?
They're for sale.
Yeah, and if you guys are you ready to hear this? If you guys want one, you guys have to pay for it.
Of course.
Well, of course.
Because
Yes.
you're an entrepreneur.
For sure.
And if
That's how you're going to
want
make
one,
your
you guys
money.
can pay for it.
Absolutely.
And I know Rowan will be okay with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I love the logo for your business. It's pretty awesome.
That is amazing. How did you come up with that logo?
Because somebody helped me with it.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah, I love
Go ahead.
That was kind of all the questions I had for you.
Now your question. What have you got?
Yeah. What questions do you have, Jane?
What would you like to share with us? What's your favorite season?
I like summer and fall.
Okay, so summer's coming up.
Yeah, and spring. I like spring too, but really fall is because my birthday's on fall.
Oh, I understand.
And that's the main part of it I love because you can do a lot of stuff around my birthday time.
What do you do around your birthday time?
Me do a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing on your birthday?
Getting cake, get all the birthday stuff.
Awesome.
I love it.
I love it too.
Is there anything you want to tell us or share about your business or what you do for fun or what you do during the day?
But during the day, I for my business, I pick up dog crap stuff. Sorry, I don't want to make you laugh that way.
It's okay.
Yeah.
All jobs are important.
And that's how I'm getting my business to start. I'm getting the money for it.
You have to do that, right? You have to have some foundation of financial cash, and you got to be able to invest some money.
Yeah.
So you got a goal that you're getting to, or when will you reach your goal? Maybe within the year or so to start?
How long?
You're getting ready to do a Kickstarter.
I'm starting a Kickstarter, not right away.
Will you explain what a Kickstarter is?
I really don't even know what a Kickstarter is.
I don't either, Joey.
The library's hoping.
The library's helping me, the one downtown.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
They're the ones helping me get everything set up till my business will start.
So you're using some community resources at the library for entrepreneurs to start your own business. I think that's a smart idea, a good choice.
It's awesome. Awesome.
Well, whatever else you guys going to say?
I think those are the only questions that we had today.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
You did awesome.
Yeah. We appreciate you coming in.
Thank you
answering
for
our
being-
questions.
And I have one thing to say. I have a girlfriend, too.
Okay.
Oh,
You probably want to hear about this.
Well, of
well,
course
if you
we
want to
do.
share it.
Of course we do.
I went on my date yesterday.
How long have you had the girlfriend?
Like 2 months already.
All right. Where did you meet the girlfriend?
I meet her at the office. At the office where Rowan has all the stuff at.
Okay. Like a workplace romance?
We had a party.
Okay, at a party. Okay.
And then I meet her, and now I went to a box seat down in Perrysburg.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the rice they gave me a small. They said I was on a diet. It made me laugh when they told me about it.
Did you have fun on your date?
Yes.
It was a good time?
Yeah.
Well,
That's
good.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's always good to find love.
Well,
Is it love?
yes.
Okay.
And sooner or later, once I'll get used to her, I'm gonna start marrying her
Okay.
and have kids too.
Well, there you go.
Okay. You have a plan.
Yes.
I love it.
She don't know it yet because I haven't told her yet. So I'm waiting to see if she would be ready for it.
I think that is a good idea. It takes time to get to know
Take your
people.
time.
Yeah.
Just like you are with your business, taking your time.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, thank you so much for being on our show and answering some of our questions.
Yeah. It was very, very interesting to hear how everything got started. And we're so glad that you were here.
Rowan's ready to hear this one about the boat. You ready to hear this one? Don't laugh, Rowan. This is the last thing I'm going to try to say it. The boat tipped over and she fell in it. And I think you heard about this one before.
I have heard the story.
When the boat tipped over, she hurt herself. I taught with a stranger on another boat that saved my life. And I started laughing about it.
Wow. Was this in Tennessee?
Yeah.
I think I've heard this story, but I love the way you tell it.
But she could tell it a little bit better, I'll be honest.
I bet she could. I bet she could. Or equally the same. All right.
Well, thank you, Joey.
Thank you so much for being here.
We're going to be looking for your business.
Yeah. We have Bronwyn Diaconis here from Rain Residential Services. Welcome, Bronwyn, to our first podcast. Hello. We just want to know a little bit about you and how you got started in the DD field.
Well, after I graduated from college, I became an AmeriCorps volunteer. So I was assigned to volunteer with people that were being served by the Lucas County Board. So that kind of started my career. Ended up working for the board for many years before I went out on my own. And it's just been something that I've truly enjoyed.
Where did you work at the board?
Well, I started out in vocational services as a job developer and a voc spec. And then I transitioned over to lot and worked as a production coordinator.
Nice. Nice.
Yep.
What do you love about what you do? What's your favorite thing about what you do?
I think seeing things from a different perspective. So an example would be like when we took Joe to a Santa train ride.
Let's say about it.
And he saw Santa Claus for the first time in his life.
Wow.
And seeing that joy, something that a lot of us take for granted, just really motivates you to try and find ways to really improve the quality of everyone's life. So that's probably what I enjoy the most.
I think that's an awesome answer. Well, we appreciate what you do as a provider. We're respective and, all this. There's so much, not only creativity, as Michele was talking about, but, just so much in the relationship, the growth, experiences. So we appreciate all of the providers and what you do.
Well, thank you for sure.
Thank you for being here today. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
That's kind of a wrap on our first podcast session of Larc Lane Conversations. Thanks to all of our guests that we had today, Bronwyn and Joey and Michele, Dave's history. We have a huge shout out to Friends for Life for being a guiding light during this process. It's been a lot of fun. And as a way of engaging the community and engaging our listeners, suggestions and topics for the next podcast, questions, things that people would like to see, you can email us at llconversations@lucasdd.org.